Hey there. Have you ever felt just completely stuck? Like you're buried under the weight of all your challenges? Well, in this explainer, we're going to explore a powerful idea that could completely change how you look at those really difficult moments.
Just let that question sink in for a second. What if you're not buried, but planted? It seems like such a subtle change in words, right? But it's a huge, huge shift in perspective. It literally moves you from feeling trapped to a place of profound potential.
And that simple question, that's the whole key. We're going to use the life cycle of a plant as a kind of blueprint for our own mental and emotional growth. It's a natural, organic way to understand how we navigate life. And you know what? It all begins in the dark.
So, let's start right where all growth begins, in the ground. First, we've got to understand the power of this starting point, and really how to reframe our entire relationship with it.
This right here is such a powerful reframe. On one side, you've got the feeling of being buried, which, let's be honest, feels like an end. It feels like depression, like struggling with no way out. But nature has a different word for it, incubation. Being planted isn't the end, it is the absolute beginning, a necessary period of preparation for everything that's coming next.
And here is the first really big takeaway. You cannot fight the soil. Wasting all that energy resisting your circumstances, the mud of your past or your present, it gets you absolutely nowhere. Instead, the source suggests something pretty radical. Just accept it. Embrace that heavy soil because that's exactly where you're going to find the nourishment to build your strength.
Okay, so once we've accepted the ground we're in, the real work starts. Before anything can grow above the surface, a strong foundation has to be built underneath it, totally in the dark. It's time to focus on our inner roots. So the source material actually gives this a name. It's called your Coherent Nexus. Think of it as your internal anchor, your center of gravity. It's that core part of you that stays stable and true no matter what praise or criticism is coming from the outside world. This is your root system.
And this is exactly why that internal root system is so critical. Life is absolutely guaranteed to send storms your way. Setbacks, failures, criticism. Without that deep foundation of self-acceptance, you're going to get toppled by the very first gust of wind.
And here's this kind of crazy paradox of growth. To reach for the sky, you first have to have the courage to grow deep into the ground. The deeper your roots of self-acceptance, the more stable your foundation, and, well, the higher you can safely climb. All right, now we get to the most dramatic and often the most painful part of this whole process, breaking the shell. This is that moment of transformation, where the old self literally has to be shattered to make way for the new.
I mean, this is a fundamental law of nature. For the potential inside that seed to ever be realized, the container holding it has to break. It's a necessary destruction.
And this is why it's so tough. The process of breaking open, it really feels like an ending. It can feel like you're losing a piece of yourself, like a small death. But what's really happening is a birth into a newer, more expansive version of who you are.
So what is this shell in our own lives? Well, it's our old ego, our outdated identity. It's made of all the beliefs and coping mechanisms that kept us safe when we were smaller. They served a purpose, for sure. But now they're just suffocating our potential. Real growth requires the courage to break them. So once you've broken through the ground, a whole new challenge begins. How do you actually interact with the world? This is where your interface comes into play. So think of your interface as the leaves of a tree. It's this living, breathing membrane between your inner world, that strong, coherent nexus we just talked about, and everything on the outside. It's not some static wall. It's a dynamic, intelligent filter that you control. Now, this interface has two main jobs. The first one is to send, to show the world who you really are, to express your authentic self. The second job is to receive and filter. This is all about consciously taking in what nourishes you, like inspiration and new ideas, while actively blocking out all the toxic stuff, like negativity or just the endless noise of the internet.
There's this beautiful concept in biology called phototropism. It's the act of a plant literally growing towards the light. For us, that means consciously directing our attention and our energy toward a mission, a vision, a source of consciousness that pulls us forward and upward. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. So, we've gone on this whole journey from a seed in the ground all the way up to a tree reaching for the sky. But what's the point of all this growth? This final stage reveals the ultimate answer.
You know, our culture usually defines success by size. How big is your company? How high is your status? Basically, how tall is the tree? But this botanical blueprint, it offers a totally different definition. Success isn't about how tall you grow. It's about how much fruit you produce for other people.
And ultimately, the fruit you bear is your contribution to the world. It's the knowledge you share, the art you create, the help you give. It's what you leave behind for others to plant and grow from. And according to this blueprint, that is the true measure of a successful life.
So, let's just put it all together in this beautiful botanical architecture. First, ground yourself in that deep internal stability. Second, consciously manage your interface, filtering your world. And third, always grow toward your guiding light, your source of consciousness.
And I'm going to leave you with this really powerful idea from the source material. Maybe all this struggle and growth, maybe it isn't about learning something new at all, but about remembering the blueprint for the magnificent tree you were always meant to become. Something to think about. Thanks for exploring this with me.